It's just so that you can't kick this in, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's perfect.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
That's sturdy. What's going on, guys? Jorge here. Just thought I'd make a quick video, kind of show you guys how I built my wall. It's a pretty weird time to be living in right now, so having a wall at home is a good way to make sure you're staying strong and you're working on your technique. I don't know if I would completely suggest everything that we've done to our wall. We did a lot of mistakes, and you should definitely do all your own research when building a wall, especially when it comes to the actual structure of it and what kind of wood you're using. This is just kind of a video I decided to make to show you guys that it is possible and it can be done for fairly cheaply. Me and my brother did this in under a week, and for all the wood and stuff, it's probably a little bit under $200. The holes are really the more expensive part, but we can get into that a little bit later. So for me, the most important part was definitely the frame. I know I want a sturdy frame because I'm a very dynamic climber and I do a lot of big moves, and so I want my wall to be able to support that and hold the weight. Now the wall you see on the left there behind the coolers and my crash pad, that wall is just a slab wall. With that one we just built a 6x8 frame and put it up with the studs that were already in the wall. That one's pretty good, and this is not something that I would totally suggest, but what I do is I get on it and I jump around and I put all my weight on it just to test to make sure that holds up. Now the wall that me and my brother are building right now, that one's going to be part of our overhang. With that one, we just again found the studs that were along our wall, and we put horizontal 2x4s there to support the frame that we were going to build off that, so we don't have to cut into any drywall or anything like that. This part was a lot of trial and error, especially when it came to finding the angles of the overhang. We did not have a protractor until the very last bit of building the wall, so I couldn't really tell you what the angles of these walls are. It was like, again, a lot of trial and error and not something that I would totally suggest. Definitely do your research and do your homework, find all the tools that you think you're going to need, and do it the right way. But this is kind of like what I did, and again, it's just kind of show you that even if you don't have all the proper tools at the moment and you're just kind of doing whatever, it can be possible as long as you're safe and smart about it. So what we're doing here is we're just attaching the two pieces of wood together to support, so it makes kind of like a triangle. This is, like I said, is going to be part of our overhang, and we're going to be building off this. So this part we really wanted to make sure it was totally secure and sound. We used pretty long screws to get them in there, make sure they're very, very supportive. We also use these kind of like, I don't even know what they're called, they're just kind of like connectors, or like these right angle metal connectors to connect one piece of wood to the other, so it doesn't wobble around and it doesn't move around. Like again, I said, this is a very crucial part for me just because I am a dynamic climber and I don't want the wall falling on me while I'm climbing. So definitely a lot of trial and error and just making sure everything is tight and sturdy. So here we are doing the top part of our overhang. This angle comes out a little bit steeper, so there was again a little bit of trial and error finding the angle, but once you find it for one 2x4, you can just kind of use that to measure out the other ones. What I attached to the top was another 2x4 to the studs that were actually on my ceiling, so finding those was kind of a hassle, but I was really glad that I did, because they're just super sturdy. And like I was saying, after attaching those to the screws and to the connectors, I just kind of put my weight on them, hung on them a little bit, did some pull-ups. Definitely good. Now while they were super sturdy, we wanted a little bit of weight distribution, so we just added like a cross beam there, just to make sure that when you were pulling on one, it was just kind of using the other ones to support it and it's not just gonna collapse in on itself. So after we got the frame up, we wanted to start working on the plywood there. I actually used 3/4 inch OSB just because it was probably one of the cheaper options that still had a lot of strength to it. Now, like I said, definitely do your own research. You might not want to use OSB, you might want to use something a little bit stronger. I personally chose OSB just because it was cheaper and still had some sturdiness to it. What we're doing here is we are just measuring out 6 inches because we want to put our T-nuts in every 6 inches, so we're measuring it out so that we can drill the hole in. Now this was probably the most tedious part of the whole build. This was probably the most annoying part of the whole build, was drilling in and putting in the T-nuts. Another thing that I might not personally suggest it, but what I did, and it worked out pretty well for me, was after the first one we were pretty tired and pretty over it. So what we did was on the next few panels we just drilled straight through all of them at the same time. Now some of them didn't go all the way through, so we did have to go back and drill in through some of the bottom layers that we drilled through. But again, that was just more of like a time saver, and you might not want to do that if you have the time and the patience to go ahead and drill in every panel. Definitely probably the best option, but again, we were just trying to save some time. Another time saver that we used was we used just the hammer in T-nuts. We didn't get the screw-ons just because we were trying to save some time on those. You can definitely get the screw-ons, and they definitely will probably last a little bit longer. You won't have to be fixing T-nuts as much, but we just kind of wanted to get the wall up as fast as we could. So after we got the actual walls up, I just used a very low grade sandpaper. I believe they used 80 just to get any of the wood that was hanging off, just because I was using OSB and I did drill through multiple panels at the same time, so that combination just kind of gave a lot of potential for splinters. So I just ran the sandpaper through it real quick and it did an amazing job. A little bit goes a long way. After that, we took some very cheap paint from Walmart and we just kind of went over the wall. This kind of made it look a little bit nicer and kind of got rid of a lot of the other potentially hazardous wood chips that were there, and just gave us something nice to paint over later on. We wanted to wait a little bit to finish the rest of the wall just because we were itching to climb, so as soon as the paint dried, we decided we were going to go ahead and put some holds up and do some climbing. We decided that one crash pad might be a little bit scary, so we were gonna wait the next day to go get a mattress that my brother just had laying around in his apartment in Indy. So until then, me and Tessa decided that we would try to make the wall a little bit prettier by painting some stuff on it. I realized I did not order enough T-nuts, so after the next set of T-nuts came in, we decided to finish off the slab and put in a little connector between the two walls so that we could have as much climbing as possible. So something I would definitely suggest getting is crash pads. I use a combination of crash pads and a mattress, but if you plan on going outdoor bouldering, it's definitely good to invest on a crash pad. The two crash pads that I definitely suggest are both Metolius crash pads. The first one is the black one you saw me climbing on originally. That's the Metolius Session 2. That one's about $120. And then this one that I just got from Backcountry, and it's like a crossover between Backcountry and Metolius, and it's called the Party Pit, I think, and it's about $160. But what I love about these crash pads is that they're super lightweight, so you can take them in stacks, so you can definitely like strap 2 or 3 at a time on your back, so you can cover ground when you go outdoor bouldering, and they're really good. Now something I definitely suggest is getting some nice quality holds. Now you can definitely get some much cheaper holds off Amazon and eBay. I would recommend a few of those for sure, especially if you're just now starting out. But I really love these holds. They're so ill holds, and I've seen them at gyms, and I absolutely love them every time that I climb on them. These that I'm opening up right now, these are the Pipes mediums, I believe, and they're actually over pour, so they pour too much of them and they sell them at a discount. So if you go to So definitely check out their over pour section, and they usually get there really fast. I also ordered a few more sets of other holds. I got some Pipes small and I got the Fungus small. I got 2 sets of those, just because I really like those holds too, but those still have to be poured out, and they'll take a little bit longer to get there, but they should be here in the next couple of days. Don't forget the hardware too. A lot of bolts will come with their own hardware, but I ordered a bunch of extra bolts from escape.com, which also made my team nuts just in case I lost them or whatever. I also made a bunch of wooden holds from the scrap wood from the build, and they actually came out really nice, but a couple of them did break while I was climbing, so that was kind of spooky. But once I figure out kind of what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, I'll try to make a video to kind of show you guys what I do. This was definitely a learning experience for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. There's still some gaps I need to fill in the wall, but for the most part I am climbing it now. Let me know if you guys build your own wall. Let me know what I did wrong. I know there's a lot of stuff that I did wrong, but thank you guys so much. I hope you guys stay safe and have fun.